Hey, what is going on, crypto people? Listen, altcoin season dead forever, or are the whales just playing possum by retail panics? Before you rage quit, before you rage quit your bags, let's follow the money and find out, are they really leaving crypto? Or is it just another crypto play? We're going to get into it. Of course, that they is the institutions. Are the institutions really leaving the game? Are they really leaving crypto? Are they really leaving crypto? I'm going to get into it. I don't know if my video showed up in there or not. So listen, happy Saturday to each and every one of you. This is Cray Cray in the streets. I woke up this morning 104 BTC, and before I even turned around, it was 101. What's going on with this market right now? Interesting stuff. I listened to three videos. I wanted to kind of cover those videos with you guys today, just for food for thought, just to help us on our journey to becoming sophisticated investors. Who is it they? And leaving, are they leaving crypto? It's really alt season, a graveyard now. I'm going to follow these numbers from 2018. I asked ChatGPT about altcoins that have had consecutive, um, what do we call it? Consecutive all-time highs in the bull run. So in other words, if they had an all-time high in 2018, did they get one in 2021 as well? It's look, out of the large altcoins, it was about 20% of the large. But when you factor in that there's so many altcoins now, that's not a big percentage at all, right? That's not a big percentage at all. Maybe Pookie, what's going on, my friend? Maybe that 90-10% rule that we have on the channel here is really playing out. It's making sense. I got a question for you, and I mean, you could tell me anything, but it's up to you to be honest with yourself. If you looked at your portfolio now, is it red? Do you have things that are even up, positively up versus the dollar? And are they also positively up against Bitcoin? I'm going to share an alarming poll for my guy, Virtual Bacon. I'm going to share that with you guys as well. It was an alarming poll. We'll share that video. We're going to get into it because we got like three videos to play. I don't want to be talking too long here because I can't be on here very, very long. We got three videos to play, Pookie. Appreciate you guys checking in. Do me a favor and hit that like button on the way in. That would be awesome, awesome, awesome. Uh, for sure. Appreciate you guys doing that. And don't forget to ring that notification bell. If you want to grab some old money merch, the link will be in the description. I'm telling you, it is a battle against it's us against them, man. I'm telling you, my Tower of Basil book is en route. It should be coming here any day now. We're learning the real deal about the central banks. It is an us against them deal for sure. And a lot of us are leaving. As Raul Paul likes to say, our hopes and prayers are in this digital asset space, and it's not looking like alt seasons. The altcoins are winning. Mark Moss, I'm going to share his video. He titled the altcoin graveyard, alt season graveyard. It's crazy. Pookie, we just said just in time, just finished your art. Nice. Very nice. So, yeah, interesting stuff. I mean, we definitely got flair in what they're building for XRP 5. That's exciting for sure for what's to come. I'm hearing about a lending protocol coming to the XRPL EVM. Now, let us not forget the XRPL EVM, there's a waiting list. They got some people hanging out wanting to tap into the liquidity. Let's not get it twisted. And also, XRP is going to be that native asset. So, I know, we talk a lot, about being on the XRPL. Just let us not forget the XRPL EVM sidechain. There's a list of people lining up to bring some stuff onto that chain when it launches. I don't know how valuable they'll be, but also we can't forget that XRP will be that native asset. So we can't forget about that. If we're gonna highly scrutinize the XRPL's lack of production in terms of new active addresses, awesome lending, borrowing, useful DeFi protocols on the chain itself. we gotta, we gotta give it flowers when we can give it flowers. There's a big list of people wanting to come. Big list of people wanting to come and build on that XRP EVM, and XRP is the native asset. Where's this Trump speech happening at, Joe? Trump speech is live. Where is that going to be on? Where would that be on X? Trump speech. What's he talking about? The fact that they hit some spots in over there in Iran. Certex green light means why is that in my no supply rug pull? I don't know why it's in my thing. XRP ETF launch, says David. Not looking good. All right, so where would that be? Is it on his? Let's see. I do want to real Donald. Oh, there it is. All right, let me try and share real quick. I mean, we're gonna hear. We took out some places. Okay, took out some places over there. I don't know. President Donald J. Trump delivers address to the nation. I'm trying to. How late was this thing? Goodness gracious. 5 minutes in, no talkie. 7 minutes in, no talk. I might have just been right on time. There he is.
Thank you very much. A short time ago, the U.S. military carried out massive precision strikes on the three key nuclear facilities in the Iranian regime: Fordow, Natanz, and Esfahan. Everybody heard those names for years as they built this horribly destructive enterprise. Our objective was the destruction of Iran's nuclear enrichment capacity and a stop to the nuclear threat posed by the world's #1 state sponsor of terror. Tonight, I can report to the world that the strikes were a spectacular military success. Iran's key nuclear enrichment facilities have been completely and totally obliterated. Iran, the bully of the Middle East, must now make peace. If they do not, future attacks will be far greater and a lot easier. For 40 years, Iran has been saying death to America, death to Israel. They have been killing our people, blowing off their arms, blowing off their legs with roadside bombs. That was their specialty. We lost over 1,000 people, and hundreds of thousands throughout the Middle East and around the world have died as a direct result of their hate. In particular, so many were killed by their general, Qasem Soleimani. I decided a long time ago that I would not let this happen. It will not continue. I want to thank and congratulate Prime Minister Bibi Netanyahu. We worked as a team like perhaps no team has ever worked before. And we've gone a long way to erasing this horrible threat to Israel. I want to thank the Israeli military for the wonderful job they've done. And most importantly, I want to congratulate the great American patriots who flew those magnificent machines tonight, and all of the United States military on an operation the likes of which the world has not seen in many, many decades. Hopefully, we will no longer need their services at this capacity. I hope that's so. I also want to congratulate the chairman of the Joint Chiefs of Staff, General Dan King, spectacular general, and all of the brilliant military minds involved in this attack. With all of that being said, this cannot continue. There will be either peace or there will be tragedy for Iran far greater than we have witnessed over the last 8 days. Remember, there are many targets left. Tonight's was the most difficult of them all, by far, and perhaps the most lethal. But if peace does not come quickly, we will go after those other targets with precision, speed, and skill. Most of them can be taken out in a matter of minutes. There's no military in the world that could have done what we did tonight. Not even close. There's never been a military that could do what took place just a little while ago. Tomorrow, General Kane, Secretary of Defense, Pete Hegseth will have a press conference at 8 a.m. at the Pentagon. And I want to just thank everybody, and in particular, God. I want to just say, we love you, God, and we love our great military. Protect them. God bless the Middle East. God bless Israel, and God bless America. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Okay, so anyway, there's that. I thought that was what it was going to be about. I thought what that was going to be about, Joe. Guys, do me a favor, hit that like button. It'd be really, really cool. So, I mean, I'm not going to get into that stuff there. It is what it is. I'm here to talk about what's going on with this alt season right now. I mean, what is going on? This is not Talk That Talk Thursday. I mean, it is Friday night. We can hang out for sure and talk. But I want to talk about, is alt season dead? Is it over with, Joe? Is this stuff over with? What's going on with this market? Bitcoin's at 102. I would think it's back up to 102,000 now. 3 videos, some food for thought. And my thought here, Pookie was, I'm just going to share the videos and invite people to consider it, right? I think when we're on this journey becoming a sophisticated investor, we have to be sophisticated enough to take in information, right? To consider it, to ponder it. Does that make sense? Is there some bias to this, or does this make sense? How does this apply to what I got going in my strategy? What is my ultimately what's going on with the wallets right now? How are they looking? How are they looking? So I think I'm going to start with Mark Moss's video. Very, very interesting. Let me pull that up here real quick. He was kind of the inspiration for wanting to do this video today. I confirmed that the confirmation video was Taiki Maeda, his video this morning that I listened to. He was talking about his maker DAO play, which is now called Sky, by the way. It's called Sky. His $1.5 million play. Let me do this. And pull that up for you guys. Now, Mark Morris is a Bitcoin maxi for sure. The TLDR on the video is that the institutions are leaving crypto for, I call it a crypto play. He's just saying they're leaving crypto because Bitcoin is not crypto. That's essentially what he is saying. But I call these things that he's going to talk about at the end of the videos, I call them crypto plays. That's how I see it. I see it as a crypto play. I don't see it as leaving crypto. But let's see if we can't pull that up. Again, this is not about a right or wrong. This is about, for me, taking in the information and considering it, pondering it. Does it make sense? What can I grab from it and learn from? Is it making sense? Am I honest with my portfolio and how it looks? Is this the 90-10 rule that the Crypto Season fam talk about on the channel all the time? All right, so let's get here. Let's go back here. Understand. Yeah, okay. So institutional investors are exiting crypto and buying this instead. That's the title of the video, right? Little, again, we're going to listen to it, but I want to bring up the part where well, let's see here. He gets into it let's go real quick. All right.
Retail investors are chasing meme coins. Institutional money has quietly exited crypto entirely. What they're buying instead is delivering way bigger returns. Institutions have poured over 85 billion into Bitcoin so far, just in 2025. BlackRock alone moved 4 billion in 2 weeks, but it wasn't into Ethereum, it wasn't Solana or XRP, or any altcoin that you've ever heard of. They're buying something completely different. We're talking about real companies with real revenues that are outperforming Bitcoin by 300, 500, and even 1,000%. And most retail investors don't even know this asset class exists. I'm Mark Moss. I've been.
Okay, so you get that gist of it, right? He said these are real companies with real revenue, and he goes on to talk about disclosures as well. But to give some context for him, he's going to share 2018 altcoins versus Bitcoin, and he's going to do it in US dollar. So Ethereum versus US dollar, XRP, US dollar, XRP, Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin, Solana, same thing. See what I'm saying? He's going to compare the all-time highs, and he's going to talk about Bitcoin. So, and what Bitcoin is doing, and the institutions are going to leverage that. So let me get here. Altcoin collapse. He titled this Altcoin Collapse and Bitcoin Dominance. So let's go here.
The first thing we're going to talk about is the big rotation out of altcoins. I know this is going to hit a sore subject.
So let me share this here so you can see the whole thing. He's got 6 years. So from 2018 to present, 6 years, right? So it's important to understand that. He's going back to 2018, right? Again, context. And for me, it's not about, for me, him being right or wrong. It's what can I take from it that makes, that will help me become more successful on my journey of becoming a sophisticated investor. You understand? That's what I'm not, it's not about rah-rahing for my bag and the altcoins I have, and we're all going to make it, and, you know, all that stuff. No, it's about, can I take something that's going to help me become a better investor? Can it help me become a better investor, right? Sophisticated investor. So, all right, let's play some more.
For a lot of you guys, but I've been talking about since 2022 that there is no alt season coming. Now, alt season is specifically, typically it's referred to the top 150 altcoins moving up in dominance against Bitcoin collectively. Of course, there's, I think there's 16 million list on CoinMarketCap. Alt season and
16 million altcoins. And I wonder if, you know, dilution.
Is let's zoom out, and let's zoom out about 5 years. Okay, we're going to use this time frame during the last 5 years. This is a chart of Bitcoin priced in US dollars. It's up 1,554%. So if we would have bought it here in 2018 and held it this whole time, you would have made 1,554%. And of course, it went up and down and up and down, way up and down, way up and down, up and down. And it's a volatile ride, but it's obviously, as you can see, it's trended up. Okay, let's establish that first. Now, what are we talking about? Well, we're talking about, let's look at some of the other things. Now, the king of alts, the one that everybody's watching right now for Altseason.
Let me go back a little bit.
Now, what are we?
Let me go back a little bit.
So if we would have bought it here, look at a couple things. Now, the first thing I want to show you is let's zoom out, and let's zoom out about 5 years. Okay, we're going to use this time frame during the last 5 years. This is a chart of Bitcoin priced in US dollars. It's up 1,554%. So if you would have bought it here in 2018 and held it this whole time, you would have made 1,554%. And of course, it went up and down and up and down, way up and down, way up and down, up and down. And it was a volatile ride, but it's obviously, as you can see, it's trended up. Okay, let's establish that first. Now, what are we talking about? Well, we're talking about, let's look at some of the other things. Now, the king of alts, the one that everybody's watching right now for alt season. If Ethereum moves, then alt season is back. We can see from its previous all-time high right here, it's currently down 49%, about half of what it was at its previous. Of course, Bitcoin is making new all-time highs continually, and here Ethereum is down 50%, 49% priced in US dollars. Understand that. Okay, we're going to come back to that. Priced in US dollars. Now let's take a look at another chart. If we look at Ethereum, not priced in US dollars, but instead priced in Bitcoin, we see something completely different. Okay, this is where you have to have an open mind. If we look at Ethereum priced in Bitcoin, it's a completely different chart. We can see that Ethereum made a new all-time high here priced in Bitcoin back in 2018. And we can see that it's never reclaimed its all-time high. As a matter of fact, it's pretty much just continued a downward trend, and it's down 84% from its all-time high made in 2018.
All right, so hold on. Is that accurate? I don't think that's accurate. Wasn't the 4,000 Bitcoin in 2020, the 4,800 Bitcoin, wasn't that 2021? Oh my God, the video's lower again. Oh, Keyless said no. There it goes. It's much better now. Okay, what's going on, Keyless? I think you're probably talking about my video. The zoom went out for a little bit. So, what do you guys think about that? Didn't Ethereum hit that 4,800 number in 2021? I think so. So I think that's not correct. I mean, I get the point that he's trying to make, but I don't think that's correct, right? I don't think that's correct. Let's take a look at it. I thought Ethereum hit that 4,800 in 2021. So I think he misspoke there. Let's check it out. I think he did. I think he did. Maybe what? That was 2020. That was 28. No, it was 2021. Yeah, that's what I thought. It was 2021. So it made an all-time high in 2018, and then it made a new all-time high in 2021. So that's not correct, unless he's saying that he misspoke when he said 2018. But since 2018, I mean, since 2021, rather, it has not made a new all-time high, right? It's been trending down. So he maybe misspoke there. Because I already checked with ChatGPT and found the few that had an all-time high in 2018 and an all-time high in 2021. Very, very few, very, very, especially the large alts have had two consecutive bull runs where they made a new all-time high. We know XRP did not do that, right? But let me go back to this video. So maybe he just misspoke there because it definitely did it 2018 and 2021. But after 2021, so maybe he misspoke. He said 18, but it was actually 2021. Or maybe he's saying this versus Bitcoin. That could be it as well. Could be versus Bitcoin, no new all-time highs. In dollars, yeah, but in Bitcoin, maybe that's what he meant. That's an interesting statistic. As compared to Bitcoin versus Bitcoin, it's not making new all-time highs. Versus the dollar, it's down 49, 50%. Just makes you think about Are you holding something that's outperforming Bitcoin and also outperforming the dollar? I'm going to get into that with virtual bacon, but let's continue.
That period, okay? What this tells us is it's sort of like a pump and a dump. It never is able to reclaim back its previous all-time high, okay? This is the king of alts. This is what everybody's waiting for this to move so everything else moves. Let's look at another one. You guys are gonna hate me for this one, but let's just take a look, and you can look at the chart, you can look at the data, and you can decide what you think. Okay, here we have XRP. XRP in the same time frame, this is the same 6-year time frame. What we see is that priced in US dollars, XRP made an all-time high. It was about $3.25 or so back in 2018. Then it sold off. Okay, and it's pumped, and it's pumped, and it's pumped. It did a big pump, dump, and then now it's up. Currently, it's sitting at about $2. Okay, so currently, from its all-time high, it's down 34%.
In dollars.
It's high. Remember, Bitcoin continues to make new all-time highs. But priced in US dollars, we're 35 cents off of its high. But if we look at it another way, so we can start to understand this, look at it priced in Bitcoin. Now you see a completely different thing. What does this look like now? 2018, we made the high. It crashed, pumped, dumped, pump, 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 pump. And this right here is just one more pump. From its all-time high, we're currently down 90%. Now, before you get mad, this is the data, but I'm going to show you where the real money is being made, okay? So if you want to make money, I'm going to show you that. But first, you have to understand what's happening. I'm going to tell you why this is happening in a second. But do you see what we're talking about here? Okay, now, the reason why alts are dead is because of the nature of cycles. About every 50 years, we have a new technological revolution. And each 50-year cycle follows 4 distinct phases. They're very predictable. And they give us a different blueprint for investing. Now, that is why altcoins are dead, because we've gone on. But specifically, we've gone from phase 1 to phase 2. Now, in phase 1, the first part of the cycle, it's about a 10-year period, 10 to 12 years. It is a retail-driven adoption or eruption. So this means the technology was just invented. There's a lot of excitement about it. A lot of people want to get involved. There's a lot of speculation going on. And we made a lot of money back then, right? Anybody been in that long? We've made a lot of money. But this was driven by retail, right? This was before the governments got in, before the Wall Street got in, before the institutions got in. It was retail. And we, the people, the retail, we had, $1,000 to throw in, 5,000. Some people were throwing hundreds of thousands of dollars in, and these coins were taking off, very small market caps. But in phase 2, we go from what's called the retail eruption phase to what's called the frenzy phase. Now, the frenzy phase is represented by institutional and sovereign demand. So instead of individuals throwing in thousands or tens of thousands or hundreds of thousands of dollars, we now have institutions that are coming in with billions of dollars, tens of billions of dollars. And so the market completely changes. Now, we can see this pretty simply if we look at some other charts of data. So for example, what is more profitable, crypto or Bitcoin? So in 2025, buying Bitcoin is more likely profitable. However, from 2017 to 2019, investing in crypto was more profitable. It was. The answers change. So it was more profitable than investing in Bitcoin on average. Okay, but today, this is no longer the case. According to data gathered by eToro, talk to them, approximately 90% of crypto traders lose money. That's because crypto traders are playing in phase 1 strategy while we're currently in phase 2. I'm going to show you this, and I'm going to show you what the strategy is moving forward. Now, we can see this again on another chart here, which kind of illustrates it. So what we have here in the gold line is Bitcoin, and the black line is cryptocurrency. And you can see how Bitcoin has completely distanced itself. And the reason why, again, is because cryptocurrency has thousands and tens of thousands and hundreds of thousands of dollars going into it. And over here, we have hundreds of billions going into it.
So, again, some food for thought there. What say you about that? I was watching the virtual banking channel today, and he kind of going over some stuff there. I think his name is Dennis. He's really, really smart guy, Asian guy, real, real smart. Again, this is not about for me, it's certainly not about being a maxi or, we're here to win. Obviously, we were here to make 100%, 200%, 300%, and 500% on our money. But does that make sense to you, what he's saying about the phases in technology? Does that make sense, what he's saying? And I, when I'm listening to someone who's a, BTC Maxi, I have to, I'm going to take it in. I'm going to, apply the principle of discernment. But then I want to listen to some other people who aren't Maxis. And if they are not Maxis and they're saying the same thing as the BTC Maxi, then I take it into more consideration, right? They're saying the same thing. Then I take that in consideration, right? And so for me, my kind of go-to guy, where I feel like I can get an unbiased look at the market, someone who's an angel investor, someone who, whoever, I don't know how he got all that money, but he did. And who is into altcoins and does leverage altcoins and then willing to kind of say the same thing or does say the same thing and willing to adjust. But Keyless, I love that you said that because just very, very few people who are willing to be honest with themselves and right. Women do a lot better than dudes and without question. And because it's just, guys just want to fight and fight and fight and hang on to something. But what he's saying is for me, it made sense about the different phases. And the reason why it made sense is because when he said 85 billion or 100 billion going into Bitcoin, right? And then he's saying that, it's hundreds of thousands, maybe it's even 100 million or 200 million, or maybe it's even 500,000, but it's not 100 billion, right? Going into crypto, right? Because remember the maxis, it's Bitcoin and then there's crypto, and Bitcoin's not crypto. You gotta understand that for sure. That kind of thinking, you gotta understand that as well. But in the beginning of the video, he says the institutions are no longer getting XRP. They're not doing XRP, Solana, and Ethereum, right? So he don't mention Soul Strategies or Vivo Power. This is another Solana one. There's another XRP one. He's not mentioning those, right? It's 2 or 3 of those, right? And there's 2 or 3 Solana, 2 or 3 XRP. He doesn't mention those. Just so you know, he doesn't mention those at the end of the video. He's talking about, more of the Bitcoin micro strategy or strategy plays. Doesn't mention the Solana, the 2 or 3 Solanas, and the 2 or 3 XRPs. But we did this on this channel not too long ago, Keyless, where we talked about, we did the ChatGPT thing, and we had figured out that yes, the micro strategy or the meta planets, the similar scientifics in the BTC world, right? That they were outdoing Bitcoin. So the MSTR is outdoing Bitcoin. Semler Scientific outdoing Bitcoin. Maybe not as well as strategy, but they're outdoing Bitcoin. So if they're outdoing Bitcoin, what else are they also outdoing? 95% of the altcoins. Maybe 98%. Yeah, maybe even 98%, right? I'm just right. You got to look at reality. If your altcoin year to date, last 2 years, is not outperforming Bitcoin, right? Again, not dollar, Bitcoin. And these plays like strategy are outperforming the outperformer. Remember, the outperformer is Bitcoin. And if strategy and Semler Scientific and is it Metaplanet out in Japan? if they're outdoing the outperformer, are they not also outperforming your altcoin? If Bitcoin is outperforming your alt and the strategies of the world are outperforming the outperformer, which is Bitcoin, then it's also outperforming your altcoin. Now, the great news is that's a form, for me, I looked at that as a form of diversification. I still personally think buying strategy is a Bitcoin play. That's just me. I think buying Vivo Power, which we've been doing, is a crypto play. That's just me. I haven't done Webull, the other one, whatever the other one is called. Right? Now, just think about it. It's just another way to put it. This particular asset class is the greatest performing asset class in the history of asset classes. And the asset in that asset class is Bitcoin. Right? And here comes, it's a play that's coming along and is outperforming that asset class. So there's a couple of things. You can get the altcoins that are outperforming Bitcoin. This is what I'm thinking to myself. I can hold the assets outperforming Bitcoin. For me, it was Solana, right? So I'm holding the outperformer. The outperformer is Bitcoin. We talked about it and we shared on the channel how we had to rebalance the portfolio so we can have more of the outperformer, which is Bitcoin, right? And then in that 90% bucket, it was Ethereum, Solana, XRP, somewhere along XRP because of, the way, how long we had it and how much we had of it, right? But Solana, we know is outperforming Bitcoin in that BTC pair, Solana versus BTC. Do you see that he didn't put Solana up there, right? He can't prove his point. If he shows an altcoin that's outperforming it, he could say, of course, out of 16 million, this is what he said. He said, of course, out of 16 million, there's going to be some that outperform it. But he mentioned Solana. Again, right? You got to apply the principle of discernment when you listen to these videos, right? All right. So I'll put the link to that if you want to watch the whole thing. I'd highly recommend it. But essentially, he's talking about institutions. They're buying strategy. They're buying similar scientific. They're buying Meta Planet, right? Because they are outperforming Bitcoin, right? But for him, like I believe, buying strategy and similar scientific is a Bitcoin play, right? So that's why he's saying the money is going to Bitcoin, not crypto. But he fails to mention the companies like Soul Strategies. Again, there's two or three others that I don't know the name. I think one is DFDV is another one, right? It's the Solana play, but he didn't mention those. But it's important to know that they are out there, right? And for me, I look at it as a diversification play. Now, for me, in the beginning, I just did Vivo Power, just a few $100, just, I was, up 180, 90% on coin. So I'm like, yeah, see you later, Coinbase. Right. So that's for me because I want to play that strategy. And maybe I'm early, right? If strategy is $400 and Vivo Power's $4, $5, $6, maybe I'm early. That's kind of how looked at it, right? So let me get this copy here for you guys. Highly recommend. Again, it's not about a right or wrong. It's not about my altcoin, BTC Maxis, virtual, it's not about that. It's taking in information and saying, what about that makes sense? Maybe I've been doing it wrong. If 90% of people in crypto are losing money, am I willing to be honest with myself and take a look at my bags and see what's really going on? Right? I had to do that. Some heart to hearts, and being down. Imagine investing 900 to 1,000, and now that value is only $100. Imagine investing 1,100 to $1,200, and now that value is $300, right? And if the way things are going, somewhere along the line, we have to ask ourselves if the altcoin that I'm holding is continually not outpacing Bitcoin. It's this little principle called, cutting your losses quickly. It was a tough lesson for me. I'm learning it the hard way. But it's again, I just want to offer some food for thought. Let me find my other guy here, Virtual Bacon. Now, take a listen to this one. I left the link for you guys if you're willing to be honest with yourselves and just take a personal assessment. And it's not saying make any changes. It's not saying selling your altcoins. I'm not suggesting any of that. I'm asking, are you willing to go on that journey with us of becoming a sophisticated investor and looking at taking in information, coming to our own conclusions, not this dude's conclusion or anyone else's, our own, because I've taken in some information and maybe this thing or that thing makes sense. All right, let me go here.
Completely separated from the rest of the crypto.
Take a listen to what he says here. Take a listen. The beginning, I was like, what? That's what just Mark Marks was just saying. All right, take a listen.
This crypto cycle is nothing like the ones before. Bitcoin is in a full-blown bull market, while the altcoins are being left behind at the moment. The key to winning big this cycle is to know when to be positioned mainly in Bitcoin and when to go hard in altcoins. In today's video, I will summarize my trading strategy for the rest of this summer, which is split.
Okay. Someone is saying, you're not sharing the screen. All right, let me try that again.
At the moment. This crypto cycle is nothing like the ones before. Bitcoin is in a full-blown bull market, while the altcoins are being left behind at the moment. The key to winning big this cycle is to know when to be positioned mainly in Bitcoin and when to go hard in altcoins. In today's video, I will summarize my trading strategy for the rest of this summer, which is split up in 3 parts. First is the price and timing to buy more Bitcoin. Second part is choosing which large cap altcoins to hold and complement Bitcoin. Finally, the last part is finding the right timing to actually go into low cap shitcoins. If there is one takeaway I can give you for this cycle, it is that Bitcoin is completely separated from the rest of the crypto market. So to form a proper strategy, we need to have separate plans for trading Bitcoin and trading altcoins. Long story short, you can buy Bitcoin and
Bitcoin is completely separated from the rest of the altcoins, right? Now, I don't know if you've been around long enough, but I remember in 2016, 2017, and especially like 2019, they kept saying it. Oh, Bitcoin is not crypto. Bitcoin's not crypto. It's not crypto. Bitcoin is his own thing. And all that. I remember. What does it feel like to you? Does it feel like Bitcoin has completely separated itself from the rest of the altcoins? Like completely separated itself? Is Bitcoin making new all-time highs? Is Bitcoin constantly going up and to the right?
simply hold for easy gains as it will keep shooting higher and higher. In summary, Bitcoin has a very clear bull market support right around the 20-week and 50-week simple moving averages. You can find these indicators directly on TradingView by typing in moving average. And here I have the 20-week and 50-week simple moving averages. The setup here is very clear. You want to buy Bitcoin whenever it drops below this light blue line, which is the 20-week SMA. And you want to continue holding as long as Bitcoin stays above this dark blue line, this 50-week SMA. Since Bitcoin bottomed in the summer of 2023, this has held true over the last 3 major corrections. And that's it. That's a very simple strategy you need to do. And currently, the 20-week SMA sits at $94,000 to $95,000. That's my next ideal buying range. If Bitcoin can get to 95K, I'm going to look to load up. And as long as it stays above the 50-week SMA, which is currently around 83K, and by the time we see the next correction, that's likely to inch up towards 85K. As long as that level holds on a weekly time frame, I will know that Bitcoin is still in a bull market. I have covered my updated Bitcoin strategy already in 2 videos. You can check this one out here for my long-term price prediction for 2025 and this recent live stream for when to buy Bitcoin on each dip. Next up, for my large cap altcoins strategy, I only want to focus on a few blue chip altcoins that are for sure going to come back and outperform Bitcoin given the right conditions. These are the same altcoins that I have held in my public portfolio for the longest time. Ethereum, which is the #1 institutional coin, Solana, the #1 retail and technology coin. I want to add XRP to this mix as the TradFi dark horse coin if Ripple actually goes public, where we have the Ripple stock trading alongside the XRP coin. This is going to create a symbiotic effect. We have BitTensor Tau as the #1 AI coin. We have Superverse, the #1 gaming coin, and PayPay, the #1 meme coin of this cycle. There are some replacements you can make in this blue chip area. Cardano definitely deserves to be in the blue chip bucket. Sui and AVAX are both really good layer 1 competitors to Solana. You have Stellar and Hedera, which are both similar narrative altcoins to XRP. Near Protocol is a good technology alternative to BitTensor. However, BitTensor has been outpacing Near in tokenomics and in price performance. I also have Beam in my portfolio, which is another strong gaming coin. And of course, we don't want to forget about Dogecoin, the OG meme coin. If meme coins are going to make a comeback again, Doge is definitely going to run if PayPay makes a run. The Pudgy Penguins meme coin is also interesting, directly capturing all the interest of crypto Twitter. The key theme here is to focus on 1 to 2 market leaders in the most obvious sectors. Ideally, you want to aim for coins in the top 20 to 30 top rankings in order to build a significant position with over 5% of your portfolio. For any project outside of the top 30, I only want to hold 2 to 3% of my portfolio there. You see, today I don't have many altcoins in my portfolio anymore. I want to limit my core long-term holdings to a maximum of 10 coins. So that brings us to the last part of the strategy. When am I going to go heavy into shitcoins again? I have been tweeting about my thoughts on this topic and having a lot of debates with people on Twitter recently. I am not buying and holding most low-cap shit.
This is just something that he posted here at Virtual Bacon. V is capital, B is capital 0x. Says here, June 6th, he posted it. If you've held alts all year and underperformed Bitcoin, you need to pivot. It kind of aligns with what Mark Moss is saying. Again, this dude he used to hold 20 to 30 altcoins.
Right now, as they are likely to lose value against Bitcoin. I believe we are not in the easy mode altcoin season yet. If you have held altcoins and underperformed against Bitcoin, you need to pivot to either holding majority in Bitcoin or holding blue chip altcoins like Ethereum, Solana, XRP, BitTensor, etc. There are 2 major arguments people have against this approach. Number 1 is that altcoins are super cheap against Bitcoin right now. It's the worst time to pivot. These are some of the most common replies that I got. Now, how do people have such high conviction for this to happen exactly right now? Consider what you are proposing here. The absolute worst time to pivot away from altcoins is now. What are you actually saying? By making a statement like that, what you are effectively saying is that you predict that Bitcoin dominance has topped, and exactly this week, or when you are making the comment, you are saying Bitcoin dominance is going to drop and drop and drop into a long-term downtrend. Of course, there is a chance for this to happen, but people have been saying the same thing over the past 2 years. Let me block off this chart until Q1 2024. This was when the Bitcoin bull run first started. People were all screaming that altcoins are cheap, you gotta get in now or else you're gonna miss the boat. I got burnt in that mini altcoin season as well. Sure, I made some gains in the first 2 weeks, but I lost it all back when Bitcoin sucked back all the liquidity. And following that, we saw the Bitcoin dominance continue to rally until November of 2024.
I'm gonna stop there just for a second, and we've been through it, right? Because we've been here, right? Pookie, Alex G, what's going on, brother? We've been here, right? Like we've been here. So did that 2024 thing happen to you as well? I know it happened to me because I could just trace the history of my portfolio, and I remember the ups, and I remember Bitcoin just coming along month after month in 2024 and just sucking it all up out again. Alex, eat at the gym with my 12-year-old daughter walking. Oh, nice. Say hi. Say hey to your daughter for me, bro. Is a million FLR enough asking for a friend? That's funny. Feels kind of good. Feels good to be able to say that, huh? Right? And so is this the part again, I listened to Raul Paul. He was with the Jamie guy, Coots. I listened to him speaking with Julian Battelle as well. And they keep talking about this elongated run now. Now it's going to be elongated. Now it's looking 75% or so instead of ending quarter 1 of 2026. It's going to be quarter 2. It's going to extend longer. Is that because of the dominance of Bitcoin and it just keeps happening and just keeps happening? The Bitcoin dominance just keeps happening? What's going on, Jackie33? Oh my goodness, it's been a long time, miss. How are you? How are you, Jackie? It's been a long time. Appreciate you checking in, right? So again, for a rounded perspective, I can't just listen to the Maxi, BTC Maxi guy, right? And this dude's a successful investor, successful business person, but he's a BTC Maxi guy. I don't want to not listen, but I can't only listen to him, right? I got to get some other perspective. And this is an altcoin guy, virtual bacon. Right? All right, let's listen to some more. Because we were all here in 2024, Yeet. We were all here, Yeet, 2024. We all know we saw that portfolio green, and all of a sudden, red, red, red. Here comes Bitcoin again, stealing the show. We all know. And maybe we're just going to have to just keep holding on and just keep holding on and just keep holding on. Or he's going to share, Virtual Bacon's going to share a poll here, Keyless. When I saw the numbers in this poll, I was shocked. But I can also say, no, I don't think I've never not held Bitcoin. No, I can't say that. I can't say that I was in that poll. But I was shocked at the numbers. We've had Bitcoin for a minute. It just wasn't weighted correctly as compared to alt. It's going to be I think you mean bear market, right? What's going on, Dennis? No, not saying there's going to be a bear market. What he's saying is the alts are not performing as well as Bitcoin, and it's been happening for a while now, for over 2 years. Blue wrenches are in the building for sure, Pookie, right? Wish him good luck. Yeah, good luck on that purchase. Got some wee. Alex Sheets' son, his 17-year-old son, with his part-time job, has been buying Sui every 2 weeks. Mm, mm. That feels like a good move. Dennis Newman, what's up, man? Says, do you believe that? Do I believe what, Dennis? Because it's not really a matter of belief. It's like the market tells you what's going on. So no, I don't believe I'm not bearish at all. No, no, no. If that's what you're asking, no. No, 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 no. No, that's not what I'm asking. That's not what I'm saying. Definitely not. We're gonna right. We're in a bull. It's not performing as well as we had hoped. We're not in that full blown on thing. But my thing is what we're going to definitely see is I'm curious to see is how many altcoins are really going to take part in the full. We're all going to make it. Everything's pumping. That's what I'm curious to see, because I think meme coins have just diluted the market so much. I don't know if cutting of the rates, right? Because if they cut the rates and you get the global M2 and we get the injection in cash, that doesn't mean it's coming to the alts. That doesn't mean it's coming to your alt. Like the meme coins, if you think there's a lot of altcoins, what about meme coins? They're pumping them out hundreds a day. Hundreds. Layer ones are not launching 100 layer ones in a day, 100 layer twos in a day. That's not happening, but it's happening in the meme coin space. Oh, I hope you're okay, Jackie. Jackie says, I've been good. It's been around recovering from a nasty ski injury. Ooh, those are the worst. Full ACA tear, partial. Oh no, and bone contusion. Ouch. I hope you're feeling better. I had a bone contusion once in ski accident. No tears, thank God. I hope you get well soon. Right? So my thing is, right? Okay, we're all looking for the rates. We're all looking for liquidity. Bitcoin does all this stuff for liquidity. We all want to cut the rates, and we all want the the helicopter money. I don't know, all that kind of stuff. We want all of that. We're looking forward to it, right, Keyless? But does that mean that money's coming into your altcoin? It's just so many. So I wonder. So let's take Mark Moss's example. Let me stop the share here for just 1 second before I get back to virtual banking. If you take Mark Moss's example, what he's saying is billions to over 100 billion Bitcoin. And then you got retail, interest rates cut, M2, global M2, liquidity comes in, but it's still not equaling in value the 100 or 200 billion that's going into Bitcoin. That's why Pookie, the 90-10 is working so well. The 90-10 is working. When I look at my portfolio, I see the same four greens always in the red. Just transparent. My Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, and XRP. In the green. Did I say red? In the green. Rest is red. I keep seeing the same four. I'm glad to hear that, Jackie 33. She says she's much better. No surgery, no surgical rehab. Nice. Right? That's what I see. I don't know. You know, we say this all the time, Alex G, and Dennis. Are you willing to take an honest look at your portfolio? And we shared on the channel, Dennis. We shared, or how long ago was that, Keyless? How long ago we started talking about that in the Crypto Seizures Home portfolio was weighted incorrectly. We held Bitcoin and Ethereum, but it was weighted it was in more of the 10% bucket instead of the 90%. In other words, for every $100, 90 were going into altcoins other than Bitcoin and Ethereum. And I just decided for us that it was wrong. I got two assets that have in year to date done better than Bitcoin. Solana, XRP. Because I turned all my ETH. I turned all my ETH over into Solana. If people are willing to take an honest look, right? I'm just saying, again, if we're on this journey of becoming a sophisticated investor, we have to take honest assessments of where we are. All right, let me go share the rest of this thing for my guy. And are you willing to do that? Do you have the courage to do that? That's what being a sophisticated investor is. Having the courage to, did you just hear this dude talk about XRP? This dude has been throwing shade on XRP for a minute. And now that the circumstances and things have changed, he's waiting to take a position in XRP. This dude, I'm telling you, this dude has been throwing shade at XRP for a minute. Circumstances are changing now. You can't ignore that the lawsuit's just about to be over. You know, White House mentioning XRP, or somebody's mentioning it, XRP, in some statements on some social post as far as being maybe a reserve thing. You can't ignore that. You can't ignore, he did a video. This dude, Virtual Bacon, did a video on strategy and Vivo Power and DFDV. These companies doing the crypto play. He did a video on it. He's willing to be honest with himself and say, you know, there's a possible play here. Now, I don't know about his symbiotic thing that he's thinking. I don't know about that. You know, if Ripple IPOs and XRP is the asset, there's going to be some symbiotic. I don't know about that. I don't know. But yeah, he's hoping that there's going to be some symbiotic thing and maybe Ripple will do a strategy play. That's what he's thinking. But I don't know about that. All right, let's listen some more.
This period was when Solana made its first rally, when PayPay and its related meme coins first made their pump. This was when BitTensor first became the Bitcoin dominance continued to rally until November of 2024. Around this period was when Solana made its first rally, when PayPay and its related meme coins first made their pump. This was when BitTensor first became popular with the major AI layer 1's wave. But was this an altcoin season? No, it was not. By March 2024, altcoins were continuing to bleed against Bitcoin already as Bitcoin dominance kept going up. Okay, then we go to October and November 2024 when Trump won the election. We had the Trump pump, we had the XRP pump, the sweep pump. RWA got really popular, and then we had AI agents with Virtuals, AI16Z, and Solana AI agent meme coins. People were screaming that this was the beginning of the altcoin season here, but look at what happened after. Bitcoin dominance bounced back again and erased all those gains that we had in altcoins. How long did this last? From November 4th until about January 6th. So another 2 months of mini altcoin season where you could have made some gains, but if you did not sell those gains into Bitcoin, you gave all of them back when the market retraced. And now
if you did not sell those gains into Bitcoin, you lost all the gains. And the market the dominance, the Bitcoin dominance, and the extension of it. You have to look, 2017, 2018, we didn't have a strategy thing. We didn't have that Bitcoin play. We didn't have ETFs. These guys are investing, just like Mark said, they're investing tens of billions, if not hundreds of billions of dollars into Bitcoin. It's different than 2017, 2018. He just showed you. Right. I took it. I saw my Sui go from 50 cents to $3. Saw it. Right. Had the Solana meme coins. Had the AI 16 Zulus. Yeah, I owned the 16 Zulus and the SPX 6900s. I owned them. SPX 6900, I think it's called. Yeah. Zerebro. Right. Remember what he said. If you didn't sell those gains in the Bitcoin, you lost all the gains. But he's going to go on. This is an altcoin guy. Make no mistake about it. he does our strategy, right? He does our strategy of the reason why we have altcoins is to get more Bitcoin. But let's listen.
Forward to April and May when we had the hyperliquid pump, BitTensor virtuals had their second wave, and some meme coins like Farcoin and other shitcoins are popping off again. By saying that the absolute worst time to pivot away from altcoins is now, you are effectively saying that you predict Bitcoin dominance has topped right here, and we are going to go into a downtrend like this. And we are not going to repeating the same pattern that we had when Trump won the elections or back in Q4 2023 when Bitcoin first started its bull run. How can you be sure that this is going to happen? You can't. So this is my counter argument to these first types of replies. I agree, altcoins are cheap against Bitcoin, but they can get even cheaper like we have seen in the last 2 years. Instead, you want to be sure that the altcoin season is real when Bitcoin dominance actually shows a long-term downtrend like this. And that takes a lot of patience. If Trump winning the election wasn't enough to trigger a durable altcoin season, other news-based catalyst events are highly possible to be traps as well. And we don't need to catch these exact reversals on Bitcoin dominance because just look at the last two altcoin cycles. In 2021, this altcoin season lasted for a whole year.
Remember now, it's because just so you know, he's showing the Bitcoin dominance and collectively the altcoin season, right? So the Bitcoin dominance goes down, the alts go up. So this is a Bitcoin dominance chart that he's showing. And he's saying this is when we had the alt season. But he's saying that it lasted for a long time. So you had plenty of time. This is what he's saying. You had plenty of time to get altcoins and take advantage of the thing. That's interesting because I didn't realize it was a long time. Like he's saying over a year. I'll go back a little.
These exact reversals on Bitcoin dominance because just look at the last two altcoin cycles. In 2021, this altcoin season lasted for a whole year, and you had plenty of time to get in when the downtrend actually established itself. In 2017, the altcoin season also lasted for over a year, and you had plenty of time to get in when you saw the downtrend actually forming. There is no reason to lose your cool before the real run even started. Give it enough time for Bitcoin dominance to actually make a lower high and lower low structure on a weekly time frame, then you can know for sure that the altcoin season is starting and we have an easy time to invest in altcoins, and then you can deploy much more heavily into shitcoins. Okay, number two argument that people have against holding majority in Bitcoin is that they have a small portfolio. I did a poll recently and the results are quite shocking.
This poll is cray to me. What percentage of your portfolio is in Bitcoin? Remember, this guy is a crypto angel investor. This virtual banking dude. I'm just context. This dude is a big time altcoiner. Context. I've been listening to him for close to 2 years, if not longer. He used to show portfolios, 20, 30 different altcoins. He is adjusting according to how the market is adjusting. He's adjusting according to what's going on this cycle. Right? What's going on this cycle? Not the 2021 strategy is not going to apply to this cycle. The 2017, 28 thing is not applying to the 2021 cycle. Why? Because of these ETFs, change in Congress, whatever it is, you have to adapt to that strategy. And he is just to me, he's stating the simple fact: Bitcoin dominance is killing the game. And what I'm saying to you is, are you willing to take an honest look at your portfolio and say, yeah, that happened to me? I got those gains in the early 2024, and then it went away. Bitcoin came in and just slopped them up. And maybe honestly say, if I would have just had here's what I want to say, not just only own Bitcoin, but if I would have had more allocated towards Bitcoin, how would the portfolio look? Again, the Bitcoin dominance is just screaming. I think Bitcoin's up over 100% in the last 12, 16 months. And even with the dips in Bitcoin, doesn't it make new highs? The money's got to go somewhere. But anyway, look at this poll here, Jackie. This poll is interesting. What percentage of your portfolio, is in Bitcoin? He did some numbers. More than 50%, 25 to 49%, less than 25%, and zero. $7,000 people voted. 7,200. And look at the number, Alex G, of zero. 0% of their portfolio is in Bitcoin. %46% have no Bitcoin. Now, I can always say I had Bitcoin and I had Ethereum. It wasn't weighted the way that I thought it wasn't profitable. The weight wasn't profitable. I had the altcoins, the XRPs, and all different whatever, but it wasn't weighted properly. It wasn't profitable. When I flipped it just by, getting out of, having 30, 35 tokens, selling them, getting more Bitcoin, every day buying Bitcoin, whatever. Now the portfolio, I have positive assets, right? You have a positive Bitcoin, a positive Solana. Thank God, finally got a positive XRP. So the question is, are we really just kind of hoping we're gonna get that thing? Or is he right about this timing of that trend when the dominance finally starts? I'm curious though, is what he means as you'll have time to get your altcoins and time to be into the the low cap, high risk. I don't know. What are you buying it with? Are you buying it with Bitcoin? Are you buying it with dollars? What are you buying it? But he's suggesting when the trend happens, you'll have time, because he just pointed out two different seasons there was over a year in a quote unquote bull run. Raul Paul just extended the bull run till mid 2026, or quarter two, I should say, of 2026. You see what I'm saying? How things are kind of piecing together and it just kind of makes sense. That's why I love the 90-10, because with the 90-10 Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, or a combination thereof, I can still have the 10% in the other stuff. Like I'm in virtuals. We own virtual. We own AI agents, right? We do the yapping and getting points and getting in these launches, playing around. But it's in 10%. Right? We have the gaming token. We don't have BitTensor. We have the gaming token. Right? For me, Flare is kind of like The FLR token for me is like it's the layer one play, it's the AI play for me. You know, for me, I don't hold render or BitTensor. I sold my other AI play, which was based AI, long time ago. But anyway, right? But again, when I look at the portfolio and I can see, oh, okay. Or if I want to see some green in an asset, a green for, 3 months, a green for a year, a green in 6 months of holding it, a green in a year of holding it. Right? Right? Yeah. Solana looks like Solana just went negative, just went red. Yeah. Food for thought.
Percentage of people portfolio are in Bitcoin. Out of 7,000 votes, 46% of people had 0% of their portfolio in Bitcoin. This is quite shocking to me. And one of the common arguments that people have for this is that they don't have any Bitcoin because they're not rich and they have a very small portfolio. And thus, holding Bitcoin is not going to give them meaningful gains anymore. I get what you're saying. However, I have then a deeper question, which is, are you spending all your time in crypto being glued to the screen for 12 hours a day? Are you actually a good trader and you're sniping new coin launches on 5 different Solana launch pads? You're on Base, you're on all the new chains, you're doing all the public sales, you're on crypto Twitter 24/7. Is this you? If the answer is yes, then go ahead. You can try to turn your $100 into $10,000. And to be honest, the only way you can do that is by being 24/7 DJ. But if you are just a pleb retail trader who checks their portfolio once per day, how are you going to beat these trench warriors? You're just wasting your already precious capital, and the market doesn't care about how big or small your portfolio is. Whether you have $100 or $10,000 of a portfolio, it doesn't matter. If you had held most altcoins over the past 2 years, on average, you have gotten less returns than holding Bitcoin, as we can see from Bitcoin dominance. So for the 46% of people who don't hold any Bitcoin at all, you really got to consider which type of trader you are. You either go full degen and gamble on chain 12 hours a day trying to make it with a 100x gain, or you have to play the patient game and wait for the easy mode altcoin season to actually start. Most people are being trapped in the middle. They're losing patience and burning all their capital while believing that they need to make it right now, otherwise they're going to lose the opportunity forever. In reality, you are burning all your precious capital already, and by the time the altcoin season actually starts, you won't have any capital to play with anymore. Let me summarize my strategy on shitcoins. I want to focus on trading with very tiny capital. I'm limiting myself to use 10% maximum of all my cash to trade shitcoins. And these are only trades that I want to hold for 1 to 2 weeks max. I will not transfer any of these positions into long-term holds, as the past 2 years have shown that each of these trends do not last longer than 3 months. Whether that's an AI agents wave or AI layer 1's wave, RWA's wave, the hyperliquid perp dex's wave, none of that matters. I'm limiting all my trading actions on Twitter, which is why you should also follow me on Twitter at virtualbacon0x. I'm actually staying very active in the market, but I won't be transferring any of these positions into my long-term portfolio holdings that I cover in evergreen videos. Now, there will be a time to go heavy into shitcoin sometime in Q4 of this year. This is when we actually see Bitcoin dominant.
Uh-oh. I see I paused here on the screen too. Am I here? Am I here? Can you hear me? Can you guys hear me? I hope you can hear me. Keela says, CJ, can you explain your 90-10 for new listeners replay for people? Absolutely. CJ, this is why Pookie says, CJ, this is why I like your channel. You look at every aspect and make us say, that's a good point. I didn't think of it like that. Thank you, my friend. Appreciate that. Right? Yeah, so the 90-10 is 90% of your cash goes into Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, and 10% goes into everything else that you want to get into, right? 10%. So mid caps, to low caps, to meme coins, whatever it is. That's the 90-10, right? And so for every $100, $90 goes into Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, or a combination thereof, I say, right? Or a combination thereof. Maybe it's Bitcoin and ETH. Maybe it's ETH and Solana. Maybe it's Solana and XRP, right? Kind of in that mix there. And I, for the longest time, I wasn't including XRP because we have what we call a MAG 7. Who is going to be that MAG 7? And the MAG 7 has some other criteria, which is um, uh, network adoption of the blockchain, right? More active users. That's a MAG 7 thing. And right now that's Bitcoin, Ethereum, and Solana in that MAG 7, because Solana's numbers, if people check the numbers, revenue, fees, wallet addresses, projects building on it, I'm telling you, Solana's the one. If you don't believe me, listen to that. Solana is the one. If you don't believe me, watch the interview recently with Raul Paul and Jamie Coots when they were just hanging out talking based on the numbers and the charts. And remember, Raul is a Sui guy, right? So just remember that when you listen to it. Alex, he says, I am at 700% on XRP. The rest of my alts are at a loss. Yeah. Yep. 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 And when you look at, $2, yeah, 7%, 800% is about right when you think about the cost basis, right? And so, but that's the 90-10 combination of Bitcoin, either holding Bitcoin, Ethereum, Solana, XRP, or a combination thereof. XRP gets into that thing for me now. Lawsuits ending, which was a big cloud on title. That's just about over. We're just about to get Judge Torres. Hopefully, she's gonna agree with the SEC. We got a new SEC in chair in place. Now I can put it in that 90%, even though I never sold the XRP. I wasn't putting it into the 90% bucket, but now I feel comfortable in putting it in there. So combination, holding one of those or a combination thereof, then you got the 10%, right? I tell people all the time, I buy more Solana than I do Sui. Why? Sui is in the 10% bucket, but I still buy Sui. I buy more Solana than I do FLR, right? Why? Because FLR is in the 10% bucket. It's a 10% play. Right. Solana is a built out blockchain. FLR is building out its blockchain. It's building out its ecosystem, right? That's kind of how I look at it. But I don't want to not own any FLR. What I realized for me in the crypto Caesars home is I was more into FLR and more into virtuals and more into XRP at the time than I was Bitcoin and ETH and Solana. I owned Bitcoin, ETH, and Solana, but the weight was wrong. It was right. So you got $1,000 is 900 and all the other stuff, and it was only 100 in Bitcoin, ETH, and Solana, for example. Right. That's what I'm saying. It was weighted incorrectly. So I'm glad I made the switch. But let me put the link to this video for you guys as well. This is a really, really smart guy. And again, not a maxi. I think that's important as well. And I'm going to share one more video for you guys. And I just want you to kind of think about, are you in this situation? Let me share this. You're welcome, Keyless. Let me share my guy Taiki with you guys. There's the link to the virtual banking if you want to check him out. Smart guy, honest guy. No, I'm not sure. I'm not saying that he gets everything right, but at least it's an unbiased presentation where you can kind of come to your own conclusions. I'm cautiously optimistic, So this is Taiki. He's an interesting character for sure, but he's a really, really smart guy. He got Fartcoin right. Now, He got, and what he did is that, the meme coin is going crazy. Is he's one of those people that Virtual Bacon just asked us. He said, "Are you the 12-hour a day person in front of your screen, 12 hours a day trading, or maybe trading, and you're airdrop farming, and you're in liquidity pools, you're in the know in all the discords and telegrams, so you know about the next airdrop and how to farm airdrops and all that other kind of stuff." That's this guy. That's Taiki. He's in all that stuff. He was just sharing in this video. He was just on some forum for Sky, which is formerly MakerDAO. I'm like, what? How'd you get on that? But anyway, but he's one of those guys. That's what he does. And so because he does that, he got over $100,000 worth of Hyperliquid in an airdrop. $100,000. Right? So this is someone who's got 10, 12, 20 wallets, and he's airdrop farming all these different places. He's in the discourse, in the tele. Are you that person? I did the airdrop farming thing, and I can tell you it's a grind. Is she home, you said? Yeah. It's a grind. Did you do what I think you did? Oh, you did? It's a grind. Yeah, but think about that. $100,000. And because it was an airdrop, guess what he did? He had a little thought, a little thesis, and he put it into the meme coins. And he put it into the fart coin, meme coin. And $100,000 quickly became over $1 million. Quickly. Right? But I'm going to tell you, to get $100,000 in an airdrop of a token, it's taken 6-7 days, 2 to 3 hours a day, because you're managing 10, 20, 25 different wallets, 3, 4 different browsers. I'm not talking about 100,000 after the airdrop and people start fumbling in, and 30 days later going to initial airdrop amount. That takes a lot. But I want you to listen to him here talk about his conviction for Maker, and he shares a book, and I just want it reminds me of that principle of cutting your losses short. But it's a mentality thing on making it, on doing it. All right, let me see if I get this.
I'm cautiously optimistic. I round trip so many games previously, right before, so I don't want to round trip again. But also, the fear of round tripping shouldn't really be the reason itself, right? Like I had a thesis, it's playing out. Like, why would I sell, right? I think so. This is like from this book called Best Loser Wins. And actually, let me actually go full screen here.
Best Losers Win.
Those are main mistakes that people make in markets. And the author, right, for Best Loser Wins, it's a good book, argues that the main cause for people's mistakes is because they want to avoid pain, right? Because for example, you buy a token and it goes down, right? They say, "Oh, I'm letting my loss run."
They wanna avoid pain, right? I was just telling Miss Crypto sees this just maybe an hour ago or so, and I was telling her that I was doing some strategizing with ChatGPT, and I was telling her what I wanted to do and re-weighting my portfolio the correct way with Bitcoin and Ethereum and Solana, and all this different stuff. And I'm uploading my portfolio. You can upload your portfolio, right, by way of screenshots and different things like that. And it's laying out a strategy, right? Laying out the strategy, because I said I want to reweight it and eventually do this goal of having more altcoins, or using the altcoins to get more Bitcoin, whatever, right? And so, and part of that process was selling altcoins at a loss. It was selling altcoin after altcoin after altcoin after altcoin at a loss. And I remember, this is keeping it a buck with you. I remember being emotionally spent. I was emotionally spent. And Chat GPT did. Chat GPT asked me, do you want to take a break on selling the losses? And let's come back to it tomorrow. Yeah, true story, Keyless. Because it was so, I was like, oh, another one. Oh, no. And I said something like, oh, this is like, painful, whatever. But this is exactly what Taiki's saying. This is exactly what the author is saying. The reason why you don't want to cut that loss is because how painful it is. And I was saying to Miss Crypto Siege that if my loss, let's say I put $1,000 and now my loss is $300 or $400, and so I only have 700 to 300 in value, right? I could take the loss, take the $600 or $700 and put it into Bitcoin. I could have put it into Bitcoin, and Bitcoin would have made up the loss. In fact, Bitcoin has made up the loss. But if I wait too long, which I've done with 2 projects, just hold it on to dear life, Keyless. It's going to make it. We're all going to make it. I know it. When this happens, and this, 2 of them, 2 of them, $1,000 value is less than $100. One 1,200 value is $300. Why? Because I didn't take the loss, that thing, I didn't take it soon enough. Now that loss is more painful. Yeah. I was telling Miss Crypto Seeds, a valuable lesson. Thank God I did the other ones. Valuable lesson. It was proof positive that I should have taken the L sooner. I could have made up for the L by selling the altcoin, put it into Bitcoin. That is a fact. Because everybody keeps thinking that they're missing out on the 20x. Well, you're missing out on the 10x or the 20x and 20. But nothing says that altcoin is going to get that. When Bitcoin dominance starts going down, nothing says or promises that you're going to get that 10, 20x. Again, nothing says it. And I know I've posed this question before, with the dilution in the market the way that it is. How do you know that your altcoin is going to get the liquidity? How do you know that that ecosystem is going to garner the attention? And here's another thing. Think about this, if there's 50 to 100 million coming from retail coming in, and there's 100 billion to 200 billion going into Bitcoin, right? When those guys that do the Bitcoin thing, they start dipping into the altcoins, when they start taking a little dab into the altcoin, because they're going to do it, they're going to take a little dab into the altcoin. Do you have an idea of which altcoin is going to be? Here's what I do know. It's not going to be virtuals. Virtuals screamed. I think it got up to 2 or 3 billion in market cap. Screamed. It's not going to be in virtuals. The AI agent play, it's not going to be in there. Where is it most likely going to be? Most likely, besides Bitcoin, they start dipping into the altcoins. Where is it most likely going to be? Ethereum, XRP, and Solana. In my humble opinion. I want you to think just for a second about this awesome protocol called Aave protocol. Massively successful. Maker, now called Sky, formerly called MakerDAO. Awesome platforms. Uniswap. Awesome. They got their own chain. Awesome. I haven't heard of a Uniswap ETF. Aave ETF. Just some food for thought. Take a listen to this. This is really good from this book.
Fibonacci thing says, like, TA says so, right? But in reality, you're just like not cutting your losers because you don't want to admit that you got it wrong, right? And you want to get back to break even or something, which makes no sense, right? Like the markets don't care about your entry. And then, like number 4 is like, kind of like the emotions maybe. I'm feeling that right now. It's like, okay, like, do I sell because I'm up? But like also, right? It's like, that's kind of because I'm scared of like round tripping, right? And like, I'm scared of, there's a lot of dopamine, right, that I experience just because I own so much of this thing. And there's like a lot of P&L or profit or loss that's associated with it. But if the thesis is like playing out, then like I should just fucking keep holding, right? Maybe it makes sense to buy more. But honestly,
let's listen to us again. Hold on.
But also like fear of round tripping shouldn't really be the reason. I'm cautiously optimistic, I round tripped so many gains previously, right before. So I don't want to round trip again. But also like, the fear of round tripping shouldn't really be the reason to sell, right? Like I had a thesis, it's playing out. Like, why would I sell, right? I think so. This is like from this book called Best Loser Wins. And actually, let me actually go full screen here. And it kind of goes over like the main mistakes that people make in markets. And the author, right, for Best Loser Wins, it's a good book, argues that the main cause for people's mistakes is because they want to avoid pain, right? Because for example, you buy a token and it goes down, right? They say, oh, I'm letting my loss run, right? Because of the Fibonacci thing says, like, TA says so, right? But in reality, you're just like not cutting the losers because you don't want to admit that you got it wrong, right? And you want to get back to break even or something.
So anyway, some food for thought. And just ask yourself, am I thinking like that? Am I behaving that way? Does that make sense? Again, it's that how I'm thinking. And I know for me, one of the reasons why I go live is and be transparent is so I can hear myself talking and so I can see myself. Yep, I'm doing that. Yep, I'm kind of thinking that way. And then I kind of give you some of my examples. Again, we're all on a journey, in my opinion, to become a sophisticated investor. So some food for thought there. Just wanted to share that with you guys. I appreciate you checking in. I think I've gone longer than I thought I was going to go, but it's about my usual hour and a half for sure. Appreciate you guys checking in. Do me a favor, if you didn't hit that like button on the way in, please do so on the way out. Some things to consider, certainly some things to ponder. I enjoy the fact that we can together go on this journey of becoming a sophisticated investor. I think it's awesome to kind of get to that point to understand kind of where we are. Traders, I don't think so. I don't think so. So swing, short, day traders, yeah, I don't think so. I think the vast majority of people are better suited to be long-term investors. And if we're going to do that, we have to go on a journey of learning how to become a sophisticated investor, applying principles like for me, cutting my losses short and rotating it. and obviously letting your winners run, right? That's what they say. All right, fam, do me a favor, hit that like button on the way out if you didn't get a chance to do so on the way in. I appreciate you guys checking in. It's been a really, really cool hang for sure. Definitely cool hang for sure. Prayers go out to the family and the people affected by this nonsensical war stuff things for sure. And for me, it's not the people, it's the governments. It's not the people, it's the governments for sure. That's what I believe in. So prayers go out to the families and those affected by bombings and other things. So, all right, fam. Thanks for hanging out. I appreciate you guys. I'm going to end this one like I do all my videos and remind you guys of this. Old money doesn't want you to win. But that's okay, though, because you and I, we're already, excuse me, we're already winning. And I would ask you to consider this, to perhaps ponder the idea or notion of living your life permissionless. I'll talk to you guys soon. See ya. Bye.